Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, we are continuing the coverage of the Delphi murders. Two young girls walking along and minding their own business, having fun as little girls do, were savagely murdered. And so we're going to be diving into everything we know after today's press conference. So they announced on Friday an arrest has been made, and they said we're going to have a press conference today, Monday, October 31st, which is Halloween here in the US. And I'm going to share with you what we do know. I will tell you in advance, of course, they're not going to feed too much information on this press conference. But of course, we always find out more. People talk, right? So let's go ahead and dive into what we know. Did he have an accomplice? What do we know? Let's dive into it, why don't we? The man accused of murdering two teenagers out for a hike in 2017 has finally been charged with their deaths. Richard Allen, 50 years old, of Delphi, Indiana, was arrested on Friday. And he was charged on Friday for the deaths of Libby German and Abigail Williams. He is now charged with 2 counts of felony homicide. Now, Allen, he has pleaded not guilty to the charges and is being held at White County Jail without bond. He is due back in court on January 13th, 2023, with a presumptive trial date of March 20th, 2023. Now, that's a little bit of a ways out, so a lot is going to happen. This is an ongoing investigation. So of course they're going to lay out everything they have on him. They're going to try to avoid this court date. They're going to try to avoid a trial in this and hopefully get him to confess to all of this. Right now, he says not guilty. And so we wait to find out on that, of course. Best friends Libby and Abby were on a hiking trail in rural Delphi when they were killed in the middle of the day on February 13th, 2017. The shocking slayings cast fear across the small Indiana town and garnered national attention. This marks the first time a suspect has been named in the mysterious double murder. Police have still not released how the girls were killed. Libby German's grandmother and guardian, Becky Patty, was surprised to learn the man arrested for the murders of Libby and Abby Williams was a Delphi resident. So the arrest of the 50-year-old Richard Allen in the murders of Abby and Libby is another step forward for closure for the families of the two girls. Since the announcement of Allen's arrest last week, days have been emotional for the teenagers' family. Abby and Libby were last seen on the afternoon of February 13th, 2017. They had been dropped off near the Monon High Bridge near Delphi. The next day, Carroll County Sheriff's Office announced that it was looking for the girls. A command post was set up and the community worked to locate the girls. Their bodies were located around 12:15 p.m. that day. After a news conference with law enforcement authorities, Libby's family said while they are thankful, they are still asking the community for help. Mike Patty, the grandfather of Libby, said today, this day after the press conference, now we've got a big mountain ahead of us and we are going to stay after it. We have never given up and you guys haven't given up on us. So we are going to keep pushing all the way. It's somewhat bittersweet knowing that while it allows us to move forward to the next turn or the next chapter now, we've got a big mountain ahead of us. Rick Snay, who is said to be a friend of the German family, he says it's unbelievable. It's one of those like the Cubs winning the World Series. Never thought it was going to happen. Libby's family says they found out about the arrest last week on Wednesday. And Becky Patty, Libby's grandmother again, she says, our lives for 5.5 years have been in a search mode, and that's what we've done. You get up, and it's like, we're not doing that anymore. So we're all just kind of feeling our way and figuring out what our purpose is now. Mike and Becky Patty said they're trying to figure out how they can still help with the investigation and get a conviction. They continue to ask the community to share any information regarding the case. Mike said, I want every stone unturned. I want every bit of information that's out there pertaining to this case. I want the investigative team to have that information. Today, Becky told News 8 that Allen once processed photos for the family at the CVS pharmacy store in Delphi, where he worked as a pharmacy technician. He said he didn't charge, she said he didn't charge them for the photos. And she told ABC News it's a small community after Richard Allen's arrest was announced. And she says, for it to be one of us, it's hard. And when she says one of us, she means an actual resident in Delphi who lived very close to this scene. We'll dive into that, but I wanted to share what she means by that comment. And she continues, how can somebody do that and then go on living life like nothing happened? Libby's grandfather, Mike Patty, he added, Kelsey German, or should I say he added that comment, Kelsey German's sister, or should I say sister to Libby German, she even tweeted, we got him, as she was relieved that they finally can start getting some more answers. And as the family said, there's still a long road ahead of them, but now they can start moving forward. And it's always felt that the girl's killer must be someone familiar with the Delphi area, but the sister said she didn't want to believe the suspect was right here among us. For Libby's sister, the arrest brings new obstacles and emotions that we have to learn how to deal with. And she said she visited her sister's grave on Sunday, October 30th, to talk to her about the updates in the case. Mike Patty, he commended the police officers who he said were diligent and sacrificed their own family time to work on his granddaughter's case. And he says they never let up. There's a lot of questions we have that are unanswered, he added, but all in due time that will come. There were more than 70,000 tips that have been submitted since the murders in 2017, according to the Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter. He told ABC News that. And he says the eyes of America were on this case. He said, because Delphi, a wonderful community, is like so many other American towns. We committed a long time ago this day would come. And this is what he's sharing of the arrest. And he says, evil never wins. As for the girls' families, Carter said, I wish I could take their hurt away, but I can't. Carter also said that Carter would not talk about the suspect, Richard Allen, or what led police to him. Again, that's all under sealed documents. The man charged with the girl's murder, Richard Allen, had his initial hearing and entered a not guilty plea, according to Carroll County Prosecutor Nicholas McLeland. he would share that in the press conference. Allen was taken into custody on October 26th, last Wednesday, and he was transferred from the Carroll County Jail in Delphi to the White County Jail in Monticello, Indiana, about 15 miles north. And as I mentioned earlier, he is charged with 2 counts of murder. The case does remain open. He's being held without bond and is set to return to court in January, McLeland would share. And he would also continue, per the court order, we cannot talk about the evidence that's in the probable cause affidavit, McLeland would share. He is said to not be cooperating with authorities, according to Wish TV. He does not appear to have a prior criminal record and previously worked at the local CVS. Now, CBS 2 said they only found 2 traffic violations in the database. And Nicholas, he says it's a step in the right direction. And this is the prosecutor speaking as he was sharing of Allen's arrest at a news conference today, October 31st. He noted that it was disappointing that the suspect is a local resident and said he can now bring the evidence against Allen to court in the future trial. But when asked whether anyone else may have been involved in the murders, McLeland simply said, "We have not closed the door on this case." Now, the prosecutor would not say when Allen became a suspect or if he knew Abby or Libby. McLeland said it's concerning to him that Allen is a local Delphi resident. He called the arrest a step in the right direction. And in the wake of the arrest, Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter said, "Peace came over me, and I didn't expect that to happen." And when he was talking today, he was sniffling a lot. He even had to pause a little bit while he tried to compose himself to share this. This is a very troubling case. Again, the whole nation has been peeled to this case. Truth is, I was talking to my wife today and I was like, yeah, almost 6 years ago. She was blown away. It's been that long that it took to find anything. Time has flown and it feels like we've been hearing about this so much because we want answers for these 2 teenage girls, 14 years old and 13 years old, that are their children. And so he had to keep himself together, Mr. Doug Carter. I mean, he was really distraught over this. So, of course, he's going to be a little relieved. And he says, "Peace came over me, and I didn't expect that to happen." And he said in a message to the families that he hopes they have found some peace in this complicated world. Carter urged the public to please continue offering tips as the investigation is ongoing. And the incident was nicknamed the Snapchat murders after Abby took a photo of Libby at around 2:17 p.m. and put it on social media. And detectives said that after the photo was taken, a man approached the girls and apparently told them to go down the hill. One of the girls, likely sensing danger, recorded the man's voice on her cell phone. And Libby's grandma shared that she watched crime shows. And that is probably what helped her get this footage and have the mindfulness, let me get something, because if this guy is a bad guy, I want to have some documentation. Guess what? She did great. That is the type of girl she was. She was thoughtful. She knew this does not look right. Maybe I could be overthinking it, but something doesn't seem right. Let me get this thing recording, because she actually had about 50 seconds of a recording, but they didn't release that whole thing. They did not release that whole video footage. All they shared was a little piece of this. She also managed to take a photo that you see and record a small clip of the suspect. Now, although his face isn't clear in the picture, it was enough to give authorities a general description. Since then, they've been pouring through thousands of tips leading to Allen's arrest. And this was the little clip that she was very smart enough to grab a hold of.
Downhill. Guys. Downhill. Guys. Downhill.
Bravo that she was intuitive to do that. That makes me want to cry with joy that she was that smart, that smart to think about those things. Good job on that. And so the authorities, they have indicated that the girls likely lost a considerable amount of blood, that the girls' bodies were moved and staged where they were found, and that the killer or killers took a souvenir from the scene. And we're not too sure what that souvenir can be yet. They're not detailing much. Was it a piece of clothing? Maybe they were missing their clothing at the time. Could it be a piece of clothing? You know, his wife, I'm sure, has been in front of the detectives now, and they're making it clear as of now the family has nothing to do with this. And so we want to find out more as to what do we know about this. And the precise charges Allen faces have not been revealed and are not contained in the available jail listings. A state court system website contains no relevant entries. The case is reportedly sealed. Officials in neither Carroll nor White County would answer questions when contacted by Law and Crime, with the exception of one person in White County who would confirm only that Allen was in custody. And Courtney Spinelli, she's a reporter for the Fox affiliate, and she spoke to one of Allen's neighbors. That man, Joe Serenick, indicated that he saw a couple of police cars at Allen's property last week, but didn't think much of it. And Spinelli, she also said neighbors saw officers digging up the neighbor said he also saw officers digging up a fire pit in Allen's yard. And you can see the fire pit here. Now, Chandler Underhill, the manager of the brick and mortar pub, he told WXIN that Allen was somewhat of a regular at his establishment. Now, the TV station used the phrase fairly frequent customer. And he would share, I would talk, he wouldn't say much, Underhill would share of Allen. He seems like a normal guy. One of my servers was telling me that he wouldn't speak much. Underhill added to WXIN. Now, Underhill also underscored the fears of many in the community that a local person, not a stranger from somewhere else, was reportedly under some form of suspicion in the double murder. It's scary that it really could be someone that you did know, Underhill shared. Like they always say, it could be your neighbor or it could be someone that you know, but then you're like, no. And when you find out it's true, it's kind of scary. That's what he would share. And according to WXIN, the barkeep indicated Allen worked in town, that CVS, where Underhill said he would go as a customer and where Allen would say, do you need any help? Again, just like a normal guy that has been seen for the last couple years, not really thinking anything out of the ordinary on that, of course. And that NBC affiliate recalled in its extensive Friday night coverage what the superintendent of the Indiana State Police said at a briefing years ago. And he said to the killer, who may be in this room, we believe you're hiding in plain sight. Now, Superintendent Doug Carter said this in 2018. And guess what? Come to find out, he was hiding in plain sight. It's pretty chilling. We're not done yet. But he was hiding in plain sight. And so Richard Allen, he lived at this home in Delphi, Indiana, since at least, according to a public record search, since like 2011. So he's been there for 11 years. His home is a short drive from the murder scene and just a few blocks from the middle school that Libby and Abby attended. And Allen, he appeared on social media posts playing pool and celebrating holidays in 2018, a year after the murder. Those posts appeared on his wife's Facebook page, which has since been taken down. And a photo shows Brittany Zabanta, 28 years old. This is the daughter of Richard Allen. Now, I blurred out her picture out of respect for her. She's not been tied to this. I'm not going to put that out there. If you want to go find it, you can easily find it. But I'm going to just respect her because she's not the guilty party here that we know of at this time. And so the daughter of Richard, they took a picture of her on this bridge, the Monon High Bridge. And it was posted to Facebook by Allen's wife, Kathy, in 2018, just over a year after the girls disappeared in that February, although it's unclear when the photo was taken. There is also no indication as to who took the snap on the Monon High Bridge trail. Now, another photo that was posted online showed Allen smiling with his wife while in the background over his shoulder. And again, I'm going to respect Allen's wife because she doesn't seem to be tied to this, but she is in the photo. I got rid of her photo so that you don't see her. That's, again, she's not part of this as of this time. But while in the background over his shoulder, there is a police sketch of the Delphi murder suspect who could be seen posted by a notice board on a wall. Now, it is unclear when and where the photo was taken. The version of the suspect sketch in the image was not released until April 2019, so the photo would have been taken at least 2 years after the murders. It was later revealed that his home was less than 2 miles from the Delphi train bridge where Williams and German were last seen alive. Now, investigators also believed photographs or videos were likely shot of the grotesque setup to memorialize the crime scene. So they believe that he may have some photos. Again, this could be some of what has led to him. So they believe that there have been some photos taken of these little girls in a grotesque way. That is chilling on its own. And over the years, numerous people have been put forth as possible suspects in the case. Ron Logan, who died in 2020, had long been the prime suspect. The girls' bodies were discovered on his property, and it was revealed over the last summer, that his alibi for the day of the murder did not line up. His home was searched and he was arrested shortly after the killings, but he was released and never charged. And then Kevin Klein of Peru, Indiana, was also previously named as a suspect in the murders. He is said to have admitted talking to Libby German using a fake Instagram profile called Anthony_Shots. Klein, who is heavy-set and pasty-faced, used an image of a ripped and muscular young man to trick underage girls into speaking to him. and he is said to have arranged to meet with Libby on Delphi High Bridge and the day before she was murdered while walking along it. But he is also said to have shared his Anthony underscore shots passwords with others, including his father, and said his dad could be a prime suspect in the killings. Now, Klein is currently held in jail after being arrested on a separate child porn charges in 2020. Now, neither him nor his father have been arrested over the Delphi Bridge killings. One jail entry claims Allen used the alias Craig Ross Renfro, but it's unclear why or whether that entry may have been an error. Now, officials would not rule out the possibility that other individuals were also involved in the teenagers' brutal murders, and if so, they vow that they will also face charges. So that leads to my question: is there an accomplice involved with this as well? Did he have an accomplice? You know, out of the gate, I'm going to say no, but I could be totally wrong. But it's been insinuated multiple times now. Was there an accomplice? Was there an accomplice? Even the cops, as I just shared, would like, hey, they're not releasing anything. But officials said they have not ruled out the possibility that other individuals were also involved in this brutal murder. And they said, if so, if anyone else is involved, they have vowed that they will also face charges. So that leads me to the question, could there be someone else involved? Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Could someone else be involved with this heinous act? Like, I mean, for a long time. Now, where they were found, that's not where they were killed. So let that be known too. Where they found the two girls, that's not where they were actually killed. Again, they were brought there and it looked staged. So that is another thing to think about on that. Like, that's what also leads me to, is there someone else involved with him? So what do you think? Could there be someone else in this? And the probable cause affidavit, again, it's currently under seal and officials decline to provide additional details about the investigation. However, it comes just months after Indiana State Police were spotted searching the Wabash River in Peru, around 40 minutes east of Delphi in August, and after investigators urged members of the public to come forward with information about an online catfishing account this past last December. And so that's what makes us wonder, like, what else? Because these were the two sketches that were shared. Now, my whole thing is, they don't really quite both look similar. What we do know now tells me that the one on the right with the hat looks more like him. What do you think? Could that possibly be what that could be one a little more tied? What about the other one though? What about the other one? That one looks like a much younger person, which also leads to the question, was there an accomplice? That's what we do not know. Because at the end of the day, we're glad that this guy is charged. And you can see where they put out the statement, the Indiana State Police, arrest made for the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. And they shared, after an extensive investigation, the Delphi double homicide task force, they made the arrest. That is such joy. And they shared, of course, on February 13th when this heinous act happened. But you can see on Wednesday, October 26th, detectives with the Delphi double homicide task force They took Richard Allen from Delphi into custody at the Indiana State Police Lafayette Post for the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Allen was transported to Carroll County Jail where he was being held. Now on Friday, October 28th, that's when he was formally charged with 2 counts of murder and transported to the White County Jail where he is currently being held without bond. And honestly, justice for these 2 little girls. And please take that number down. They are still asking if anyone has any tips on this. Please share. They're asking anyone with any tips on this. Please share. My friends, I'm Manny Rodriguez, and that's my whole point on this. More eyeballs out there on cases like this. Keep you updated on what could go possibly wrong in this crazy, crazy world we live in. To keep you more alert, a little more observant to what you have around you. My friends, thank you for joining me. If that is the type of content you like to follow, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you got some value out of this video, hit that like, because that's going to tell YouTube there's some value here. Show it to more people. And that's the whole premise behind this channel. This is not about me. This is about my experiences to help you be a little more aware of what could go wrong, to be another voice for these victims, get their stories out there in a respectful manner. Because I'm not trying to drum up every little piece of information I can just to get views. I'm trying to get eyeballs on these victims' stories. These 2 little girls were taken from this world way too soon. They had so much life to live and so much life to give. And this lunatic, crazy dude allegedly took their life. Obviously innocent until proven guilty. We don't really know everything involved. We just know a man's been arrested and charged with this murder, with these 2 murders. We also know that there's been instances before where the wrong person was arrested, right? I don't want to be one to jump the bandwagon, but right now, Richard Allen is the one that's being charged for this double homicide, and we wait to find out more. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to serving you again. Peace. Be safe out there, my friends.